What's up, everybody? It's about that time for another edition of the Crew Radio Show. I'm Kevin Swan, co-host of the show, and the crew are professional people who are also friends that come together to talk about the things you want us to talk about. We talk about it all, and we don't hold back. So come on and join us for another edition of the Crew Radio Show. Welcome to the Crew, WHOV 88.1 FM, and we're on YouTube. Check out our channel, like and subscribe our channel, The Crew Radio Show on YouTube.
You get on my nerves sometimes.
We started the show like that, Jay. Jay, we started the show like that, man.
I'm quiet.
Is that what we doing?
Yes, we are. Because America, I'm telling you, America. This one right here, Kevin Swan, he does stuff off air, and then we get on air, and then I'm still contemplating what he just did and said, and I just want to tell him something, but I can't because then I look like the bad guy.
His members gonna get you.
His members gonna get me and everything. Then, you know, they come up to me in the streets and everything.
They should.
Why? They don't know what you do behind closed doors.
Because they loves me and I love them.
But they don't know what you do to us. It ain't just me.
Don't the scripture say let it be establised by 2 or 3 witnesses?
Well, then here's 2 right here.
Did I do anything to him before the show?
A little bit. You count down to I love y'all. Whenever y'all hear I love y'all, just know there's something before I love you. It happened. It happened. It went through. And then he go ahead and start the show.
I think he gonna start the show.
I ain't thinking about neither one of y'all.
You gonna do that? Really?
I got a job to do. I got to keep this train moving. I got to stay focused.
No, you got
hold on.
Y'all get a sidetrack. I got to stay focused.
I will say 2 weeks ago we did I can't remember the show we did. I had somebody to message me, and I could show y'all as proof, and said, "Hey, this one right here gets off topic."
This one right here.
She said, "You get off topic."
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I'll stay on topic tonight.
No.
I'm going to stay right on topic.
No,
what are we talking about?
No, you got it. You got it. You got it. I'm drinking my water.
What are we talking about?
You know what we talking about. We're talking about some sorry Negroes. That's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about.
So look, real talk though. Last week we talked about, this whole thing with Target. And again, at the time of this recording, we're still in the Lenten season. And right now there's a fast against spending at Target, right?
Yes.
That's what we talked about last time.
And I'm all in.
Go to targetfast.org, get more information about it. You can sign up, be one of the currently over 120,000 people that have committed to not shopping at Target during the Lenten season. Jay, we had an extensive conversation behind that last week.
Yeah.
But the way the show ended, though, we kind of segued. We didn't have time to finish it into really just having a deeper conversation amongst, because this is the barbershop, right, about social class within the black community. How black people think at different social economic levels.
And we're talking generally.
Generally speaking.
Yes, because there's always exceptions to the rule.
They're outliers.
Yeah, but
not many.
But there are some things that, Ton, you're very passionate about.
Yes.
When it comes to how maybe those who are more influential in the African American community
Rich
may feel in terms of having to shoulder the weight for the entire race of people.
The poor people.
Yeah.
No, the entire race of people.
I know, but you're talking about what the rich has to do to shoulder for not just the middle class, but more so for the poor people. That's what we're talking about.
So talk about it, Tom. What's your frustration, man?
The frustration is I want everyone to come together to put skin in the game concerning we all should be feeling some level of the struggle, some level of the suffering, some level of the pain that we all feel or should be feeling as a result of the racism that's thrown our way. And sometimes it doesn't feel that way. Sometimes what it feels like is there are people who would rather sit on the sidelines and watch. And I'm going to tell you this, what I've noticed too. I've noticed it from poor and I've noticed it from ultra rich too. Because you got wealthy people, I was about to say a name. I'm going to say a name because I'm Anton.
I might have to bleep. Go ahead.
Like Snoop. Like Snoop.
Yeah.
That showed up at the inauguration. Now, I remember Snoop when he was on trial for murder. back in the 90s.
Right.
And who came out and supported Snoop? The brothers, the sisters from the hood. They supported Snoop. They were saying the system is unfair. They were saying this is not right. This was what was it, a self-defense, or did he just say he didn't do it? I can't remember which one it was because it's so long ago. But nonetheless, he was acquitted. But it was his people that were very supportive of him. When Michael Jackson, it was his people that was very supportive of him. OJ, it was his people that was very supportive of him. Okay, fast forward to 2025. In January, old boy is on stage and he's performing for the guy whose neck is redder than that pole right there. And we're like, are you serious? And if you notice, he's been real quiet lately.
But you got to remember, he also came out, I think, 3 or 4 years ago, and he was really hard against anybody that would perform or do anything for this president. He called them, different racial slurs.
So what happened?
I mean, they saw that money and did what he did.
So what happened? Because you on the show with The Voice, now you're a judge on The Voice, and you doing stuff with Martha Stewart, and you doing the commercials. Every time you turn around, his face was everywhere.
Yeah, he did the Olympics.
Did the Olympics?
He did the Olympics. Yeah, but
he
guess
read
what?
the Bible too.
He did what?
He read the Bible. He's a narrator for the Bible.
Okay, all right.
I'm just saying. He is.
I just said okay. Trump did too.
So what is the example, Ton, of him being rich? How does that impact?
Because he's like, I got my money. I'm gonna go do me. And I don't care who is impacted. I don't care what you think about it. I don't care if y'all are, as a solidarity, you guys are against, for the most part, against this racist president. I'm going to still do what I'm going to do because it's going to help my pockets.
His bottom line.
My bottom line.
So do you think most, and I know we can't speak for all black people, we're not trying to do that today, but do you think a lot of black people tend to lean more in that camp? I got mine, y'all get yours, or I got mine and I'm trying to help our people get theirs?
I think what I see is there is a faction of the wealthy that says, I got mine, you got to get yours. And then the poor who says, I'm just going to wait for you to give me a handout. Because you should not see generational welfare in the same project. I did a talk one time. It was a master class, and it was prosecutors, social workers. It was just different people who were just public workers, government workers. And I asked the social workers, I said, how many of you have caseloads where there are grandma, daughter, granddaughter, all on welfare, and they all in the same project in different houses, and all these hands went up. To me, you have individuals who teach their children how to work the system. Now, are there generational curses? Absolutely. I believe in that. I think spiritually, there are generational curses of poverty. I absolutely believe that. But do I also believe that there are people who are teaching their kids how to manipulate the system to work for them? I remember one particular time, our church, we have outreach to pregnant girls. And I remember there was a young girl, I used to love her fight because she wanted better. And I loved that about her. And I remember her. And I remember how her mom did not want for her to get her GED because she thought that it was going to impact her welfare check. Now, this young girl is trying to better herself for her and her child. She had a young child. And she was a teenager. But her mom didn't want her to get her GED and better herself and potentially position herself for more because she was more concerned about her welfare check. That's the foolishness I see on that side. And then I told you about the foolishness I see on the wealthy side.
So let me ask you a question, man. How is the system working for you when you pull?
Well, the system.
How does somebody think that it's working for me?
I'm going to give it to you. I'm
still in the hood.
Yeah, you still in the hood, but you ain't got to pay no rent. You ain't got to pay for your food. You ain't got to pay for your lights. If you got to pay lights, it's very minimal. You got some people in the hood that dress better than people that's going to corporate America. And if you go down to Young Terrace in Norfolk, you see Mercedes and Escalades and all those kind of cars in the hood, and they're there overnight on a regular. So if I'm driving well, if I can go out and party and I ain't got to go to a 9 to 5, if I got the rags that I can wear and all my food, you got people selling their food stamp because they're getting so many food stamps. You got all that going on in the hood.
All right, so let me ask you this.
And nobody want to talk about it. And when you talk about it, people look at you and say you're an elitist, or they look at you and they say you don't get the whole story. No, there ain't no whole story. Again, I'm not saying it's everybody. I'm saying it's too many people that's doing that.
And that's what I want to ask you. What percentage would you say out of 100% of the people, and give the listening audience context? You were raised in the hood.
I was raised in the hood.
So you know about all this.
I know about the hood life.
So what percentage would you give of people that want to stay there and take advantage of the system? 20%, 30%, 50%?
Well, here's the problem with that. I can't quantify that because I don't know everybody in the hood. Even when I was growing up in the hood, I didn't know all my neighbors. I didn't know everybody that was there. There were a lot of grandmas in the hood who wanted better, and who, like my grandmother was in the hood. My grandmother always pushed for me to get my education. She always pushed for me
But that's
to
not
be better.
the category we're talking about here. We're talking about the category of parents teaching their children
How to play the system?
Yes.
Oh, it's a lot of people.
I would say at least over 50%.
It's a lot of people.
You think half of the people
It's a lot
in
of
the
people.
hood?
It's a lot of
because
people.
I mean, you look, if you go down, well, I go down my timeline, and I know these people don't make more than $60,000 a year, and they taking 4 or 5 different trips, and they bought, like Tom said, buying cars. They got Gucci. It may not be real, but they got Gucci stuff on and this, that, and the third. And I know they're not making any investments. And you even look how people came out of COVID, not want to go back to work because they figured out how to work the system in a way that the system worked for them. They don't have to go back to work. If I make just this amount of money legally, and I get the rest of it on the table. Hey,
On the table.
Don't pay me with a check. Give me cash. Don't cash at me. Give me cash.
So do you realize, and I'm playing the other side of radio for both of you, this is the argument that the Republicans make, that the Democrats offer and give too many handouts to people. And if we stop giving so many handouts, maybe you wouldn't have so many generational curses. Maybe people would go back to work and try to find a job instead of trying to rely on the system.
Whenever you have an entitlement program, you are going to have abuses. You can abuse.
But he said 50% of it.
I don't know if it's that high, but I will say it is a great number. It's not a small number. It is a good number because, like I said, if grandma, daughter, granddaughter are in the hood, they all got different houses. They all getting a check. They all getting something is going on. That is not normal. That is dysfunctional.
So my question to you is, for the purposes of radio, that's supporting the Republican argument. What do you say to that?
What I say to that is it can't support their argument because their argument is the black woman is the welfare queen, and the vast majority of the people on welfare are white. So it can't support their argument because we ain't talking about the Appalachian Mountains. We ain't talking about going to the bluegrass. We ain't talking about going down to the Delta.
I agree.
So when you pull all the numbers together, the stats together, we only make up 13% of the country. So all 13% ain't on welfare. So let's just go ahead and stop that right there. That's just a big old lie. The vast majority, because when you go to Walmart, I only go to Walmart on the first. On the first, I stay away from Walmart.
Right.
Because I already know what the deal is going to be.
First and the 15th.
The first, no, I'm talking about the first.
I know, but if you stretch it out.
Well, on the first, I don't go. The second, I may get some pushback, but the first, I definitely do not go. There are just as many Caucasians getting that monthly check in that line as you will see with African Americans. So that's a lie. That's a myth.
All right, Jay, what do you say to that, man? People might be listening who are Republicans say, yep, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Too many of us got handouts and take advantage of the system, and that's the part we're trying to eliminate.
Well, I mean, if you got to have both sides of it. If they're saying that's what they're trying to take away from us, they give their folk what they need with tax cuts and not paying tax. Like, let me not pay taxes.
Please.
Like, because I owe the IRS right. I don't want to. That's why I wait to file, because I know I'm going to owe money. So how is that I owe money, but somebody make over $1 billion don't owe money? So, like, if they can do it that way, why can't
But we're not talking about middle class right now. We're talking about lower class, right? Who are people who are intentionally taking advantage of the system because in their mind, they're living good.
I mean, if that is their standard of living good, I mean, who are we to judge?
Okay. You know that statistics have shown, research shows this, that very few people who are born in a socioeconomic class ever rise above it. Meaning, if you are born into poverty, you're most likely going to stay in poverty.
And
that's not all the way true, though.
It's research. You are the exception.
My entire household is the exception because I have a sibling, and he lives in the suburbs, and his son has never seen a day of poverty.
But do you know most of the people that you grew up with, are they still in the same community in which you were raised?
I don't have any interaction with them.
Right. but the point I'm trying to make is, if you're born into poverty,
I'm just keeping it real.
No, what I'm saying, if you're born into poverty, it's most likely you're going to stay there. If you're born middle class, you're most likely going to stay there. And if you're born rich, you're most likely going to stay there. There's very little movement out of your socioeconomic status that's established at birth.
And why would you say that?
That's what the research says.
No. And I'm saying, why is it? I'm asking, what did the research state the factors?
Could it be also what you're suggesting? It's mindset, right? Because
it's absolutely
because this is all I know, right? So the question for you then is, how did you break that?
Exposure.
And most people aren't exposed to higher levels.
That's not true either. Because I know a lot of people that are exposed. Like, you know, we take our kids to different things, but again, familiarity. I would rather stay where I know versus going to what I don't know.
That part.
So, because again,
do you think a lot of people want to stay where they are?
I think a lot of people are comfortable where they are. And then here's the other piece. It takes work, and fear is real. It's not rational.
So you think fear is keeping people in their socioeconomic status?
Absolutely. I think fear is a factor.
If you flip the conversation, no, we're not talking about domestic abuse. Why does the person that's being abused stay in an abusive relationship? They can get out. They make choices to stay in.
So that's a different dynamic. I think fear, I think upbringing, you have emotional stuff tied in, if it's kids, if it's dependency, financially speaking. But if we're talking here if you talk about money,
just money, okay. So
most people stay where they are. Why?
I really believe that it's exposure. You can't dream something you've never seen. It's hard to do that. And then if you don't have a support system, someone who is going to encourage you to say, I see something in you that you don't see in yourself. I've always had that from birth. So, yeah, I grew up in the hood, but my mom gave her life to Christ when I was 9 months. And so, you know how them church mothers do. They get around you and they encourage you, say, baby, you smart. You need to go back to school. She had someone pushing her, telling her she's smart, telling her she can be better, telling her that is absolutely huge, telling her, being a cheerleader. She had multiple people doing that, mentors are huge. And so she got off welfare. She went to school at night at Norfolk State and got a job during the daytime, dragging us to school with her at night because she didn't have a babysitter. But my mom was real big on, you are not defined by your environment. And she would expose us. She would put our pennies together, and we would go to Chrysler Hall to see plays and to see musicals. We would go see, I remember seeing a ballet as a kid, the Nutcracker and things of that nature. She exposed us to culture. She exposed us to good mentors. She did that. And because of that, and the other part, she's like, you're going to be the breadwinner in your home. You're not going to grow up and return home with your kids. You're going to take care of your kids, and we're going to establish goals for you now. What is it that you want to be? What are you good at? And she began to stir up the gift, as Timothy was told. Stir up the gifts. And so she just did not tolerate laziness. She didn't tolerate it, and then she didn't allow our environment to infiltrate our home.
Your mama's an outlier too, though.
That's the point.
Yeah.
You are the exception, and that's what I'm saying. You were raised in
My household, though, is the exception because
Yes,
my brother and I both.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
your family is the
He like
exception
punching
to
your face.
he want to make that point known, don't he?
No, because I'm saying it's not just me. What she did worked. And here's the thing: my brother was attracted to the streets. He'll tell you he was a follower. He was attracted to the streets. Now he tells me, he said, Anton, you're the reason why I didn't stay in the streets. And I'm like, why? Because I'm 3 years younger than him. He said, because I knew you were going to be successful in life. Because I never liked the streets. It was nothing about the streets that attracted me. I thought it was crazy for anybody to be attracted to the streets. He went into the Army because he said, I didn't want you to be somewhere doing all these big things and people come up to you and say, when your brother getting out of prison?
Right.
So he said, so that peer pressure that was created in the home to do good, that was real.
Yeah, but nowadays, and I see it every day in education, you having mothers, aunties, uncles, and if the fathers are present, saying you can't do this, or you won't be this, or you can't do that.
Yeah.
Like that's you see that. Like when I bring in kids, say, hey, we're gonna do shirts and ties today. They don't need that. Why do they need that for? Like they can't even see.
Who would say that? They don't need that.
The parent. So now the child, because the parent, there's definitely life, the lie, and the power of the tongue. Now the kid is like, well, mama said I can't do it. I mean, Mr. Covenant said I can, but I ain't with him. He not. In their mind, every day is rehearsed that you're not going to be this, you're not going to do that. So again, why you can't dream like that?
So what would you describe as the socioeconomic class you were born into?
I mean, no knock on my parents, but I thought we were well off. But my mama and my daddy, like looking at it, they weren't rich. We weren't poor.
So middle class.
I mean, depends on how you define middle class.
Do you feel like you have gone up, down, or the same as where you were raised?
I think currently, again, no disrespect to my parents, they did the best they could. I think I'm a step above where they were and where they are.
But not a class above, just a step above.
No, I'm like
in the same class.
They were like third middle class. I'm like second middle class.
But it's still the same class. And see, this goes back to me, same thing. Middle class. I think I'm in the same class, maybe a step or two up.
You kind of rich though.
I ain't rich. No sir. Ton is the one.
Well, here we go.
You see that shade? But you see that shade.
Why is that
right?
shade? That ain't shade. That's a compliment.
Why you bounced? No. But why you bouncing? He was talking about you.
I'm not rich.
But why you say I'm rich? Rich
are the three of us.
Okay, so
you are the richest of the three of us.
So define rich, or am I using the wrong word? Should I say wealthy? Which one are we going to use?
Are you talking financially speaking?
I mean, you both of y'all are well off.
I don't consider myself well
I don't
off.
either.
Because well off, your money your money works for you.
Yeah.
I work hard for my money.
Yes, I agree to that.
I work hard
just like you work hard
money.
for your money.
Yeah, but that's semantics, though. Sorry, dude. That's I think that's semantics.
You got a house. We got a house. You got a car. We got a car. You got a family. You got to pay. You got kids. We got family. We got kids.
Say it.
You got to pay college tuition soon.
Come on.
I'm paying college tuition. He got to pay it.
No,
Yeah,
I believe in the Lord
Hopefully.
for scholarships, Lord.
Yes.
Got that 4.0. She need to get
So
somebody.
what are you saying here?
I think, and maybe this is part of going to what Anton says. I said jokingly, but you would have some people saying, they look at y'all and be like, yo, like they don't need.
Yeah, numbers are relative.
That's right. Because
numbers are relative.
Say that again.
Numbers are relative because somebody who's making 20,000, 30,000 may look at us and say, "Man, y'all are rich." We the Huxtables. We real people, man. Deal with real life stuff. Got real bills, real issues. Now, we may have a little.
Say something. He want to say something. He want to say.
We got about 31 minutes. I wait till 30.
He refraining because I felt something in his spirit that he wanted to say something.
But it goes to what, again, like people look at Commonwealth attorney.
I think they look at their position.
Right.
Yes, I think they look at position.
I think they look at their position and they assume that the
And they
position
count your money.
equates to money.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
people
they
make
count your
mistakes.
coins.
They
They
make
count your
mistakes all
coins.
the time. But I'm just saying that if you look at between the three of us, And then when you put the other 2 ladies in, the 5 of us, people will look at us and rank us at different places. And they probably wouldn't even say y'all were middle class.
Well, I am sure enough middle class. I can't speak for Ton. I'm sure enough middle class.
See that shade? But anyway,
That ain't no shade.
you see that shade? But anyway, again, when you're wealthy, your money works for you. All 3 of us work hard for our money.
Extremely hard.
Extremely hard. And I tell people all the time when they're like, well, you make this kind of money. I'm like, yeah, but did you go to law school?
Right.
Did you pass that bar? And did you give almost 30 years of legal work doing the things that you're doing? Then you go sit down somewhere until you do that.
So let me ask you this. We know that all 3 of us are not, bless the Lord, in a lower class.
Correct.
What would you want from a middle to upper class person to communicate to a lower? What would you want them to know? Because you said some things in the last show about frustrations, about their skin in the game.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of skin should they have if they don't have the resources or the economic power to do it?
Sometimes it's not about resources. Sometimes it's about your strength and your time and your commitment.
Consistency.
So yes, Lord. So for instance, okay, we were talking about the Target boycott. Just you said, I will commit to an economic boycott, whether it's Target, Walmart, or whatever, where if our community has said we're going to do it, then you don't lag behind and just sit back and not be a part of it, but you commit. Because guess what? They may be in a lower economic bracket, but they spend just as much, if not more, than I would at a Target. They'll spend just as much, if not more.
You think
at
poor
a
people
Walmart.
shop at Target?
Oh, I bet you bet. Boy,
I'm
wait,
asking.
Get your head out the sand.
I'm not saying this in the sand.
Get
I'm
your
asking
head
the question.
out the sand.
This is
America,
for radio.
This is for radio.
This is for radio.
America,
This is for radio.
America, I need y'all to go online and I need y'all to put your comments online.
I'm just asking
because
the question.
he's saying, he asking the question, does he think poor people shop at Target? Absolutely.
I think they shop at Walmart.
I think they shop at Target and Walmart.
Before Neiman Marcus went out of business, they shopped there too.
Come on.
Saks.
Come on.
Gucci.
Come on.
Fendi.
Come on.
Not the real deal.
No,
Yes,
the
they
real
do.
deal.
Down on in Linux.
Bootleg
real
versions.
No,
Hot
real.
versions.
We're not talking about Peddler's
Villas versions.
Nah,
Come on, man.
True red bottoms.
Not in the hood, man.
Man, you
Not all of it.
Dude, you go to the hood, and
Okay.
like Tom said last show,
Okay.
you seeing BMW,
Okay.
Mercedes,
Okay.
and if you go on the right night, you may see a Maybach.
And let me say this to you. Because that's what they're getting from the government, you don't know what other flows are coming into their house. You don't know what other flows.
That's
You got
true.
folks driving a Tesla truck that I know don't make more money than I do. And I'm befuddled how you afford a Tesla
He
truck.
said befuddled.
I don't understand it.
Befuddled.
So let's move up a class. Let's keep on with this. So
Okay.
middle class. What's the middle class black community about?
They're saying, stop taxing me to death.
Yeah.
That's what they're saying. Stop taxing me to death. Because the middle class is shouldering the burden of, I think, America.
But we get it both ways. We got to pay for those who are less fortunate, and then we got to pay the share that the other people in the upper echelon aren't paying.
Who don't want to pay taxes?
Yep.
Because if you're in middle class, you're not going to get the same tax breaks that the lower class is going to get, or the tax breaks that the wealthy is going to get. So you're getting hit both ways. And it depending on how high you up in that middle class, because you know there are variations of middle class. So how high you up in that middle class, you ain't even getting a stimulus check. Because I ain't getting no stimulus check.
But you know what's so crazy though? I looked at my tax returns from last year. And I was really excited because I made the most money I've ever made in my whole life. But that tax bracket that when you shift up a little bit and they come and get your money, I'm like, I should have reported some of this money. I should have just flew under the radar.
So now you see, he keeps speaking Republican. See, because that's what they say. The more money I make, the more money you're going to take from me. Some don't seem right about that, which is why they try to create loopholes.
But they're creating loopholes for rich. They're not creating loopholes
Well, they're
for
not
middle
thinking.
class.
Well, we know that. They're not thinking about poor people.
No.
Or even middle class people.
No,
They're thinking about how can I preserve what I got.
How can I preserve what I have?
Yes.
Correct. That's why I don't understand how poor people, I don't care what race you are, think that a ultra billionaire with nothing but billionaire friends is going to look out for your best interest. It befuddles me, as Jason says. It befuddles me.
He taught that language. He taught because I've been on social media I've been out of school for almost 20 years, so about good 20 years. And this past week was the first time I ever had to delete somebody off of my social media platform because like the stuff they were saying, like it didn't make sense. Nothing ever measured up. Like you asked questions about policies and, the argument was what Swan was saying, like he's doing things to help fix what's going on. Like, for example, getting rid of the Department of Education. You get rid of the Department of Education, get the power back to the states. States don't have a plan for infrastructure. So what happens to Title I school, Title I funding, after school programs? They don't care nothing about that. They just taking that money and allocating it somewhere for them. And for me, that's problematic, to say the least.
Well, you know what? Social media is so negative nowadays. I just say, I'm done. And so I have Instagram and I have a political Facebook. But outside of that, that's it.
Don't you got political X too?
I got rid of it.
You did?
I just deleted it.
Good for you, man.
Because I say, you know what? I'm sick of all y'all. I am. I'm just sick of all of them.
Well, if you're gonna go back to what we talked about last week with DEI, I mean, Meta has gotten rid of DEI.
Yeah, I'm sick of all of them.
Of course, we know who Twitter is.
Right. I said I'm sick of all y'all. Delete. I'm sorry.
I wish I could figure out how to do that.
I did, cause you know what? Cause I also have business things that I do. Like I just launched Envision, and so it's like I was like, Lord, I can use this for marketing and advertisement and things of that nature. And the Lord said, "You don't think I can market you better than X?" And that thing hit me deep in my guts. I was like, if I'm being obedient and getting rid of this mess, I said, he would bless me beyond what this platform could ever do for me. And I was happy.
No doubt about it.
Happy.
So again, let's go back. $13 billion or so, black people every year.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of them in the lower class, that's going to stay there. A lot of them in the middle class, going to stay there. And even in our country, we know that there are very few people. I think I saw some on social media where it's like 10 of the wealthiest white people have more money in our country than all of the black people in our country. 10 white people. And this is kind of how this is, man, right? It's a very small percentage of people that have the most money, more than the majority of the people. If you're saying middle class is the one that's getting hit,
the worst.
That's where we are. How middle class people surviving there, man?
Prayer. That's all I can tell you. Prayer.
What are we passing on generationally that you say like the lower middle class who are telling people to stay in the system? What are we? Is there anything in the middle class that we are passing on to our kids about wealth and finance?
To work hard.
No. What work smarter? So what we decided before we even got married, my wife and I said we were going to invest, we were going to save, we were going to get out of debt. And so we were able to do some things. And so as a result of that, when he turns 18, there are things that he's going to walk into as a result of some of the things that we set aside. And then probably to my advantage, having some legal understanding of probate and just probate law, knowing how wealthy people keep money without the government taxing them to death, all those loopholes. And so a lot of times they put things in trust.
Yep.
They put them in trust. So when you pay off your house, if that's something you want to pass down to your kid, put it in the trust and put it in their name. Give yourself a life, give yourself some type of a life estate, and then you put it in their name and pass it on, because that's how they're keeping wealth in the family without the federal government being able to tax them. That's how they're doing that stuff.
And I think that's the biggest difference, honestly, in the rich. How can I preserve my money without paying a single dime of taxes?
And taxes. And they hire high-end CPAs and high-end attorneys to create tax shelters and create loopholes. Like the ultra rich, they're not getting paid salaries; they're getting paid dividends, those stock options. Because when you get paid the stock options, then you're getting the 15% tax rate instead of the 30 and plus percent tax rate that they would normally have been in had they just gotten cash. And so off of that, then they find all the other loopholes and other tax break and break that 15% all the way down to zero.
And see, Jay, that's the biggest difference.
Financial literacy.
We get hung up in the tax check that we gonna get back. Right? Can't wait.
I don't get tax checks.
Can't wait to get. But that's how most of us think. Can't wait to get that tax check back.
Don't get one.
Right?
Don't get one.
Not realizing that for the money that you get back, you're essentially throughout the whole year have allowed the government to hold your money.
Free interest.
That's what that is.
Free
But
interest.
we don't see it that way.
That's what it is.
We see it as I'm getting a lump sum payment, right? And this lump sum is going to allow me to do X, Y, and Z when you could have had that money all year.
All year. Free interest. They don't get a cent from me until it's time to pay.
I need somebody to tell me how to do it.
You need an accountant. You want to preserve your money, you need an accountant, somebody that understands the game.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest challenge that we have in our community. We don't know the game. And we getting taken advantage of. And I don't think we even want to, I don't want to speak for everybody.
Thank you for saying it. I'm glad you're about to say
I'm not sure
it.
if all of us even want to know the game.
There we go. All right. There we go. All right.
Because we just comfortable doing what we do.
We are comfortable. We are comfortable. There are a lot of people who, if they could learn the game, would learn the game. That is correct.
And this has been the frustration for me, Tom.
Who will not learn the game, even if they're given the opportunity to learn the game. How often have you done free financial seminars at your church?
Yes, and that's exactly what
Free.
I was about to say.
100% free. How often have you seen it at churches that you were a part of? I know we have classes right now, and you get a small percentage who will actually sign up for a free workshop or seminars concerning how to get out of debt, how to do a budget, how to invest. You got millionaires a lot of times doing these classes at churches for free to because they're part of the congregation, and they'll do it. Particularly the big churches, you have them. They are pretty wealthy, but they will not come because they don't see the benefit or the upside of it, or the mindset is, well, I don't have anything to begin with.
I don't have enough.
And so this can't apply to me. I'm just making it, ends meet. But my thing is, you got to dream and you got to have a vision. You got to see yourself beyond where you are. And that's very hard to do when all you've seen is struggle, is to see, I can be bigger than this. I can be. The reason we are the exception, my mom she wanted more for her kids. And she said, if I'm gonna have more for my kids, I got to make some changes. I got to do something. I can't just sit here and just collect the welfare check. That ain't gonna work.
I think there's also a lot of shame that comes with ignorance in our community. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people don't come to these workshops because of the fear that if I go, how people are going to perceive me when I go, that I don't have money or something's wrong with me, so I'll just sit this one out.
But that same person will go to a food bank. And that same person will, because same churches like our church, we have the classes, but we also have the food lines and the food banks and the food ministry, the pantry ministry. And that same person that's a part of the church, they'll drive through the food pantry line and get the free handout. And I'm like, you're not ashamed of getting the handout, but you are ashamed of getting the free business know-how so that you can come up, you could break the cycle. I don't understand that part. You okay with a free handout, but you're not okay with getting the knowledge so that you could be able to prosper.
I get the free handout on my terms. I come get it, and I don't have to do anything. But when I go to this financial workshop, there's a level of accountability, and now I got to do this, and this.
But you can't have that mindset of the shame, because if you're saying it's about shame, then why is it okay for this and not okay for that?
Yeah, and I do think that there are a lot of people who, it's just, to me, being a pastor, I see it as a church mentality. A lot of people want change. They don't want to change. And there's a difference. So I do want better for my family financially. But to Jay's point, I just don't want to do the stuff that's got to shift me out of my comfort zone, my habits, what I'm used to doing, because I want to buy what I want to buy when I want to buy it.
And you can't tell me what to do.
And if I can't buy it when I want to buy it, then
I'll charge it.
I mean, you take Christmas, for example. And we talk about a lot of this at church. There are people who will charge their Christmas account, be in debt for 3-4 months in the following year for gifts that most people don't even remember after the day of Christmas. And you still paying on this stuff, right? Like, that's the mindset. And so, because people got to feel like they got to have means. And so you spend unnecessarily.
We don't. We better stop doing that.
And let's just be honest, in our community too, keeping up with the Joneses is a big deal.
Yeah, they got a new car, so I gotta get a new car.
No, I don't do that. That's stupid.
You don't.
No, that's dumb. Because you gotta pay that. You gotta pay that bill. I'm sorry.
You see people do it all the time. I see it all the time.
That's so dumb. I don't get that because you got to. But the Jones is not going to pay your car note. They're not going to pay that. They're not going to pay for you if they go on vacation. You got to go. They're not going to pay for your vacation. They're not going to pay for the clothes. They're not going to pay for any of those things. You got to pay that bill. And a car note, you can't put that on no credit card. You got to pay that cash.
You cannot. But the reality is, if you and I started together, and then you get something, then I got to get something to stay up. That's the mindset. I can't be looking bad that's why you probably got some people that when you left the hood, man, they was looking at you sideways.
So let me go ahead and drop this knowledge on you. When my wife and I first got married, we lived in a condo. We both were professionals. She's a doctor, I'm an attorney. Even after, we were making certain amounts, we stayed in that condo because we had a financial plan. We lived purposely beneath our means. There were friends of ours who were getting the big houses and we did not do that because we said we're going to be debt free. We're going to be debt free. No cars, no mortgage, no nothing. We paid that condo off. That condo is my son's. That's his.
Right.
We paid off different things. And I'm talking about property. Because we're passing that on. That's what I'm talking about. Keeping up with the
Can I have one?
No. Talking about keeping up with the Joneses is so crazy to me because it is not going to create wealth for you. And so if you're talking about trying to break the cycle coming out of whatever the social economic barrier or social economic status their parents are in or currently in, you're only going to be able to do that if you make sacrifices. And trust me, it was not easy because we did see the friends. We did want to get more and do more. And we looked for certain things, but it had to be within our price range. When I purchased the last house that we got, it was purchased with the mindset of it would be based on my salary and my salary alone. Her name was not even on the mortgage papers. Her name is on the deed, but her name is not on the mortgage because if she said, I want to come home and not work, you coming home because you're going to have that luxury of coming home. Now, everybody don't make the kind of money I make. I get that. However, I stayed within my budget. If my budget was $40,000 a year, I would have got a home based on that $40,000 a year budget because I did it before because I stayed in a condo.
Well, if I'm watching videos all day long and I'm seeing entertainers throw money on the stage like it ain't nothing, right? And I see the jewelry and I see the cars.
That's immaturity.
And I see the flash.
That's immaturity.
And then I see that in order for me to be let's be honest, it's the barbershop. In order for me to have any chance at most women, for some women, let me not put it out there for all, the brother working at McDonald's ain't gonna get no look. They get passed over. I can be the nicest dude I can be. But if I'm working there, then the thought is I can't provide a means of a lifestyle.
Well, here's the thing. What I would say to the brother that works at McDonald's, what's your plan beyond McDonald's?
But look, even in that, when I met my wife, man, I wasn't working nowhere. I was in school. I was playing ball.
But you were in college. You were in your early 20s.
Yes, but at the same time, right, if a brother is from the hood, he's working at McDonald's, right, and he's trying to better himself, right, he will still not get a shot, even if he's trying to move up the ladder. Not for all women. Let me be clear, because I don't want people posting and commenting saying that I'm, talking about women in a certain way. I'm not. But the reality is, and we've had this show, Alvin was on.
You're not going to like my answer.
It's just the reality for a lot of it. So I'm saying this to say, this is what causes people to have to overspend.
Can I just
to try to live a lifestyle that they really can't afford?
Go ahead and stick up for the sisters for a second? I ain't got to be on the show for this one. I got it. No finance, no romance. If you working at McDonald's, I'm sorry, you ain't gonna be able to provide for a family and some kids. Let's talk reality. Now, if McDonald's was
Who's
paying,
kids?
I'm talking about your kids. Your kids that you want to have, you ain't gonna be celibate. You're gonna be trying to have some. And so, if you're trying to have
So
some,
if I'm meeting you and it's her kids or my kids?
No, I'm talking about your kids that you're gonna have with her. Because I'm thinking you're talking about getting married and hooking up. That's what I'm talking about. If you're talking about just dating, that's one thing. But you said, I want to be in a relationship with you and want to potentially get married to you and want to have kids with you, you can't do that on no McDonald's salary.
You have to have a plan.
You got to have a plan. That's the point I'm trying to make. You got to have a plan. Starting at McDonald's, ain't no problem with that.
But that's the point I'm making.
There's no problem with starting at McDonald's.
But that's the point I'm making.
But how many people at McDonald's got a plan? That's the point I'm making.
How many people in your office got a plan?
That's the point I'm making too.
So it don't matter where you start, because there are people that make good money in your office ain't got no financial plan.
But here is the problem with your analysis, because they are in my office, particularly if they are attorneys, they got the grace with the money that they make to be able to not have a plan. You're not going to have the same level of grace working at McDonald's because your money is not going to be as long. That's
true.
the problem.
That is true.
That's the problem.
But for, again, people who live in a certain category, the money that is expected might not be at the level of where people that work in your office. But if I work at McDonald's and I got to hustle and I got to grind and I'm serious about taking care of my family, that's what I'm going to do.
And again, if you have that hustle and that plan,
legitimately,
you're not going to be at McDonald's for long.
No, you're not.
Okay, so that's the point I'm making.
But I'm saying to you, Tom, if I'm working at McDonald's and I'm committed to taking care of my family, if I got a DoorDash, if I got to be an Uber driver, if I got to work at McDonald's, if I got to clean toilets, then that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, that's what you're going to do. But you said someone meeting someone at McDonald's. You're saying they're not going to get a shot. And what I'm saying to you is, if you are working at McDonald's and you don't have a plan, I'm not saying if you're working at McDonald's and you just at McDonald's. I'm saying if you're working at McDonald's and you don't have a plan.
You won't even get to know my plan is the point.
No, you better have a plan, brother.
How would you know my plan? Because you're not going to give me the shot to know my plan.
You got to spit it out in the first 5 seconds then, because I'm sorry.
Hello, man, I take your order. Here's my plan.
Here's my plan.
Before you
Here's my plan.
I take your order. Hey, this ain't really what I want to do. This is just a stepping stone.
Because I was that college kid working in a pizza joint.
All I had was a dream, dog.
I was that college kid working at a pizza joint. I was that kid working at Subway.
Facts.
18 years old, 19 years old. But guess what? I wasn't trying to get married either. I was 18, 19. I was just trying to have fun. So I'm talking about, come on, Jay. Come on. He ain't trying to hear this. I'm saying you trying to have a family, get married, and the whole 18, 19, you ain't trying to do that.
So what about the brother who just got out? He got to go to McDonald's. He got to work somewhere.
Yeah, he got to work somewhere.
He got to build up.
Yeah.
He got to grind in his heart. He want to do right, but he just life circumstances. He got the right mindset. He got the right mentality to want to work and to provide.
And I'm going to say to you, that brother, his focus may need to get that grind going so that he can get to where he may want to go. Right now, because let's keep it real, when you in relationships, it is a distraction if you're trying to do some things. And you got to have the mentality and the maturity to handle the distraction so it will be a positive distraction and not a negative one.
I agree to that, but I also know, and you know this to be true in your day-to-day and in my line of work, there are a lot of people that I come in contact with that's got means. They're in middle class, upper class. They're getting cussed out at home every day. They're getting beat. They're getting all kinds of stuff going on. We can't sit here and just simply say that it's the finances that make a better life.
No, your point was people won't give you a shot. That's where we were.
You're right.
We're saying we won't talk about what people are doing in their homes. We're just talking about, you said people won't even get a shot.
They won't get a shot in most cases.
And I'm saying I wouldn't, if I was a female, I'm sorry, and maybe I'm just being too honest. If I was a female.
Depending on your status.
No, if I was a female and I got a plan and I'm trying to go somewhere and go places, I'm not going to give you a shot if I don't think that you have a plan and you trying to go. Now, if you are in a temporary situation, why?
Because most women, here's the rule, and we talked about this. Most women, however they're raised and what they're exposed to, is not going to enter into a relationship with a guy that's below their standard of what they're used to.
And there it is.
Right?
So then why you mad at that? So why you mad at that?
If I walk in and I perceive that this guy cannot allow me to live at least to the level of the standard that I'm used to.
Say that. So why you mad at that then?
I get that.
But then what's the problem?
There's not a problem.
Oh, okay. So we agreeing.
I am making a statement that a lot of guys who are good guys, who have grind and potential, get passed over because the woman is looking at that and saying, from the jump.
But you say you had a problem with that.
I don't. But I'm making a statement.
I don't understand.
Did I say I had a problem?
If he say he don't have a problem, then
I'm making a statement.
What's the statement? I need to understand your statement if you don't have a problem with it.
The statement is that brother ain't gonna get a look.
And?
That's all I was waiting for.
Yeah.
Tom don't get nothing about that.
Yeah, again, and I mean, you say you agree with that. So I'm trying to understand why you're making that point if you agree with it.
Though. That's kind of messed up.
It ain't no messed up because, again, you talking about you're going to be the head of your household. You need to be able to provide for your household.
And I am.
And so, no,
I'm going to get that.
I am. You ain't going to do that on no McDonald's salary. I'm sorry, not in America.
But what if they trying to move their way up and they try to, keep doing what they're doing and the next thing they got to do?
Potentially, but guess what? That's a plan. Yeah. He still got a plan. I'm saying you got to have a plan.
So let me ask you this. Do you think
you telling me that, you beautiful and blah, 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 but you ain't got no plan when things get rough? I can't live off of that salary that you're getting from McDonald's because we know in America, you ain't getting no money at McDonald's. You got to have a plan. Finance, didn't we talk about this before? Finances is the number one reason for divorces nowadays.
Yes,
and so why would someone willingly go into a relationship knowing that finances could be a real serious issue?
Then why get into a relationship with somebody who has the means and yet still cussing you out? And
I agree with that too.
Because security.
Hold on. I agree with that too.
Okay.
Drop that joke and create a curve and kick him to it.
But if you're more likely to stay in that situation, why don't you give his brother a chance who might give you?
Because I say don't get in either one of those situations. That situation with McDonald's may not financially be wise, and the situation with the brother that is dysfunctional is a dysfunctional, toxic relationship.
It is.
And so you need to stay away from that as well. And if you are attracted and drawn to that, go get to know yourself, as my mama used to say. Go get to know you. Go sit in the room and go get to know yourself. Because clearly there are some identity issues that make you drawn to that. And you don't want to be in a relationship like that because it robs you of your identity.
And that's the point I'm making. Right? So we are quick to overlook because we think that this person can't meet the standard. And yet we are more tolerant and willing to endure difficult relationship because we think, to Jay's point, this person is going to provide some level of security.
But neither one of them are right. So
they're not.
So then what's your point? Because neither one of them are right.
I mean, we almost done, but I still gently push back on it not being right by the brother that's trying at McDonald's. Like you don't give him a chance because he work at McDonald's. Is that the reason why?
No, she's not gonna give him a chance. if he
No,
work
because
at
that's the
McDonald's.
first question that people ask. What do you do?
Yeah, they're not. They're not gonna give him a
question is,
chance.
what do you do? What does the chick do?
I guarantee you, regardless of what she does, she is not going to give that brother. See, you're talking. He's talking euphemistically, and he's talking.
You using big words. You using big words.
Or what it should be. I'm talking realistically. Sisters are not going to give that brother, the average sister. There may be an exception. There's always an exception to the rule. But the average sister is not going to give that brother a chance when you're talking about relationship and marriage. She ain't doing it. Now, if you're just going to have some fun, just someone to hang out with, someone to do whatever you want to do with, sure. But you seriously thinking about marriage and want kids, if you're in that mindset, you ain't giving that brother that chance.
But now I will say that in this day and age, with a lot of sisters now, and let's just be honest, the most unmarried population in our country are black women.
Yeah.
Okay. So if a sister's going to school, she got her own spot, she got her own car, and she got.
Then what I need you for?
That's what the man's gonna think.
No, that's what she gonna think.
The man think that too.
The man thinks that.
Look.
So this is where, Ton, men also nowadays have to have a different version of what it means to be a provider. Because what we have done is we have exclusively made providing financial. And what I'm saying is that there could be opportunity like this. McDonald's, where's the vision? Where's the plan?
All I'm going to say is I married up.
So did I.
I married up.
I did too.
Okay, so a man with confidence, he ain't going to shoot down. He going to shoot up.
Correct.
Because he wants someone that's going to add to their life, not someone that's going to take away from their life.
But she still had to take a chance on you. Just like she had to take a chance on me, right?
Yeah.
This is the point we're making, right? Because
but she took a chance on someone.
It wasn't just financial.
Yeah, I get that. But she took a chance on someone that she took the time to get to know. So it really wasn't taking a chance, because that's one of the reasons that you see so much foolishness. People don't know each other before they hop into these relationships.
Yes, but
you got to know. Like, it's like sleeping with the enemy. You better know who you gonna lay next to, because it can get real ugly real fast. And I've seen some stuff come through those court systems as a result of that.
And what I'm saying to you is Dawn, Treese, and Michelle also saw that men as providers is not limited to just financial.
Sure.
That's what we're saying.
You got to provide emotionally. You got to provide spiritually. You got to provide safety.
And it could be that the McDonald's brother can do that, but he ain't going to get the look because of where he's working.
Because he can't provide financially.
And is that the only way, though?
That's going to be a big way.
It is a big way, because money does answer all things. Scriptures say that.
Yes.
However, it's not the only thing.
It's not, but you're not going to get past that one hurdle of finance if you're talking about marriage and kids. It's going to be an exception, but outside of the exception, the average sister ain't going to give him a chance. Now, you can think they are if you want, but America, do y'all think that sister going to give him a chance? America.
Leave your comment.
Do y'all think that sister going to for real give him a chance? I mean, maybe y'all out there saying, yeah, I'll give him a chance. You going to marry him, and you going to have kids with him, and he's keeping his job at McDonald's just working the counters. You put your comments
Nobody's saying that. That he stays there.
I mean, that's what I'm talking about.
But you said having a plan.
Meet
there.
I said he has to have a plan. That's what I said from the beginning. If he's working at McDonald's and he has a plan, yes, all day long, I could see a sister giving him a chance. But if he does not have a plan concerning his future, and McDonald's is where he is, and McDonald's most likely is where he's going to stay, I don't see the average sister giving him a chance. I just don't see it.
And on that note, we got to run.
Michelle, I love you.
We got to run. We are out of time. Hope you enjoyed the show. If you're listening to us on WHOV, don't forget to go to our YouTube channel, The Crew Radio Show. Check it out. Like and subscribe. You can see us there and all that kind of stuff. But we got to go. Until next time, be blessed to be a blessing to someone else. Peace.
Thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of The Crew Radio Show. If you liked what you heard, be sure to subscribe and leave a review. We're always looking for great sponsors to support the show. If your company would like to reach our highly engaged audience, please drop us a line at thecrewradioshow757@gmail.com. Until next time, thank you for kicking it with the crew.